Kuldeep Yadav, he missed out on the first test match in Leeds, but could he be the difference maker that India are looking for as they prepare for the second test match in Birmingham? We're going to be doing three things over here. One, I'm going to be showing you his record against England. Then let's have a look at what is it that the overall numbers in this particular venue, which is Edgbaston in Birmingham. What is it that it holds for spinners? And then we'll try and answer whether it makes sense to have a Kuldeep Yadav in the side or not. Then I'm going to be telling you what is it that Kuldeep Yadav did with Kevin Pietersen, his mentor in the IPL. There's a bit of a preparation keeping the England series in mind that the spin bowler did in his days during the IPL. So allow me to take you through all of these three aspects. But before I begin, let me also tell you what is it that we are picking up. We just heard a short while back from Ryan Tendis-Carter, one of the assistant coaches of the Indian team, and he's given a very strong indicator that there's possibility of there being two spinners. Now, which are those two spinners going to be? We don't know, but what we at Sportsday are also picking up is exactly the same. However, all three contenders are in the fray. Kuldeep is in the fray, so is Washington and Ravindra Jadeja. Eventually, which of those two will go ahead and play is something we'll have to wait and see. But let's quickly take a look at what is it that Kuldeep Yadav's record against this particular opposition is. In 11 innings that he's played against England, he's picked up 21 wickets at an impressive average of 22.28, and he's got a 5-wicket haul as well. I want to focus on the 5-wicket haul and the wicket section that you see over here. Now, the one thing to be borne in mind is that of those 21 wickets, 19 had come at home. He had a splendid time against England in those 5 test matches that took place. In fact, was capped off beautifully for the spinner, who picked up a 5-for, eventually in fact ended up picking 7 wickets in that test match in Dharamshala. It was in the first innings, if memory serves me right, that he picked a 5-for as well. So the takeaway from this point being that he knows the opposition too well. You could argue that he's played most of the matches at home, but that experience counts for a lot. So there's not going to be that novelty factor when Kuldeep Yadav takes on these English batters. Let's move on and tell you a bit more about the venue as we had said. Now, as far as Birmingham is concerned, it is one of the best venues if you're a spinner. I'll talk about the record of a certain Shane Warne as well, and the one similarity with Shane Warne and Kuldeep Yadav that you know is both of them are wrist spinners. So it's actually not a bad place if you're a wrist spinner to be going out and having a crack. Spinners have an average of 34.17 in fact at this venue, which is the best in the 21st century for any venue in England, with a minimum of 8 test matches. Now, that is another reason for you to be looking at a Kuldeep Yadav. Remember, he is not one of those who essentially needs the conditions to be favoring the spinners. His action is such, his ability, he's a Chinaman as we all know, is such that he takes the pitch out of the equation. Exactly what we say about a Jasprit Bumrah as well, that you don't always need those conditions to be aiding him. The one thing that just goes against Kuldeep Yadav is the fact that he doesn't have a lot of experience bowling in England. He's bowled just on the one occasion, which was in Lords in 2018, but that was a Kuldeep Yadav who didn't have enough experience, was still very young. He went wicketless in that match, and what has happened over all these years is Kuldeep Yadav has changed. Kuldeep Yadav has changed his run up. As we know, he comes a little more straighter now. He's fast through his bowling action. He's learned how to add more revs, and he's a completely new bowler, so to say. So he makes up for all that tweaking that he's done. He sort of makes a very strong case for himself to be included in this second test match. And lastly, let's touch upon what is it that makes or strengthens Kuldeep Yadav's case. Now, he had an eye on the series during the IPL. He had a good time with the Delhi Capitals, as we saw, but he played for the Delhi Capitals, and during that time he trained very closely with the man that you see right alongside him in Kevin Pietersen, who was a mentor to this Delhi side. Now, the couple of things that they worked very closely on is going through the English lineup. That is something that Kuldeep wanted to get a sense of. What is it that every batter in terms of his strengths and weaknesses. So batter by batter, KP sat down with Kuldeep Yadav and they went through the entire English batting lineup, trying to understand where is it that he can target the English batters. He also tried to talk about the pitches to get a better understanding, because one thing that we know for a fact is that pitches in England have changed, especially since the time Brendan McCullum has come over. So he wanted to get a sense of the pitches and then the field placements as well. He tried to understand what are those field placements given his bowling ability he can go with. And before I go, I must also tell you the other conversation that he had with Kevin Peterson, and that had to do with the mindset. Now, KP told him that the one thing spinners tend to mistake is the fact that they think that they come in with a very defensive mindset when they're in England, thinking that it'll be the fast bowlers who'll do most of the bowling workload and will be doing most of the damage. But that's not what you need to do. What you need to do as a spinner is come in with that mindset that you're there to pick wickets, and that is something that Kuldeep Yadav will want to do now that he has gathered all this knowledge from one of the local men out there in Kevin Peterson. I also touched upon how this is a good venue for spinners. Shane Warne has a very good record in that particular venue, in case I forgot to mention that. But looking at all of this, looking at what the demands of this Indian team also is right now, how you need more wicket takers. Gautam Gambhir and Shubman Gill both have emphasized on the need to pick 20 wickets, and if you want to do that, I'm of the firm belief that it's high time you have a Kuldeep Yadav play in this side, play the Birmingham Test match and see how things go.